Russell Vought raised a lot of eyebrows on Thursday with his remarks at a breakfast for the Christian Science Monitor. Russ Vought is President Trump's budget chief as director of the Office of Management and Budget. He suggested the $9 billion rescissions package that was just passed by Congress was potentially the first of many, suggesting that the president doesn't need the assistance of Congress and isn't violating the Constitution by forcing through major spending cuts. Russ Vought said President Trump will not, and I quote, be bowing to a legislative branch's understanding of its own authorities and powers. And this has many people in Congress worrying about respect for the Constitution and the separation of powers between the legislative and executive branches. So Congress is right now working on the budget. They've passed the overall spending limits, but they still have the work to do of dividing that money up between different departments and programs through appropriations bills. But Russell Vought on Thursday completely dismissed the idea that whatever budget Congress appropriates would actually be spent. He said that they would be viewing those spending levels more as a ceiling, and if they chose not to spend all of it, he thought that was well within their authority in the executive branch. Vought was pretty defiant in his comments, saying, and I quote again, "Who ran and won on an agenda of a bipartisan appropriations process? Literally no one." Vought talked about a number of tactics that President Trump could use to reduce federal spending, including additional rescissions bills, as well as pocket rescissions, which are potentially an illegal tactic. They would definitely get challenged in court. The pocket rescission is a tactic where the president will propose a funding cut so late in the fiscal year that Congress does not have the 45 days left to even debate and decide on it. So it effectively cuts money before Congress has any chance to act against the cut. And challenged about whether he understood that Congress has the power of the purse, Russell Vought said that yes, he does understand that. Congress absolutely does have constitutional authority over spending. But he said that doesn't mean that President Trump can't roll back whatever spending they've approved and signed into law. This, of course, caused a bit of a furor with legislators from both sides of the aisle speaking out against Russell Vought's comments and led Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt to try and spin this, claiming that Russell Vought meant exactly the opposite of what his actual words were. Vought said that he was having fun in his new role and that he would define his success as going as far as they possibly can to restore fiscal responsibility. But he did not address how that jives with President Trump's signature domestic policy, adding another $3.3 trillion to the federal deficit. When asked explicitly if he was worried about damaging the bipartisan appropriations process, he said, "It's not keeping me up at night."